So, what if I told you that a doctor from 1,000 years ago actually held the secrets to navigating our crazy modern lives? Well, today we're going to unpack the wisdom of the legendary physician and philosopher Ibn Sina. You might also know him as Avicenna. We're going to see how his ancient prescriptions for the body, mind, and soul are, believe it or not, more relevant than ever. Okay, let's just dive right in.
Right out of the gate, he hits us with this. Are you willing to give up the things that make you sick? I mean, wow. Ibn Sina believed this was the real starting point for any kind of healing. It's not about some magic pill or a quick fix, right? It's all about taking personal responsibility. This one single question, it basically frames everything else we're about to talk about. It puts the power, and yeah, the challenge, squarely in our hands.
You see, over 1,000 years ago, this doctor saw the world completely differently. Ibn Sina wasn't just some guy prescribing medicine for your symptoms. No, he was a philosopher who got that a person is a whole, complete system. For him, true health wasn't just, not being sick. It was this state of total balance, a real harmony between what's going on inside your head and heart and what you're actually doing out in the world. So the first step on this journey, you might think it's diet, right? Or maybe exercise. Nope. For Ibn Sina, it all started by looking inward. The foundation of a healthy life, the most crucial first step, is all about radical self-awareness. First, you have to know thyself.
And this quote just hits you, doesn't it? The worst ignorance is not knowing oneself. Think about that. What he's saying is, without this foundation, we're just spinning our wheels, Just treating symptoms. We can change our diet, we can try to manage our stress, but if we don't fundamentally understand the person we're trying to heal, we're basically just fumbling around in the dark. This has to be step one, because everything else, all other healing, really depends on it.
So, okay, how do we actually get there? How do we build that self-knowledge? Well, he gives us a path. First, he says, your value is measured by what you truly care about. That's your compass. Second, and this is a big one, your only real fear should be dying before you've even figured yourself out. And the payoff for all this? You build this inner fortress. When you really know who you are, what other people say, good or bad, it just doesn't affect you in the same way. It loses its power.
Okay, so once we've got that internal foundation sorted out, it's time to move on to the body. These are the simple rules. For Ibn Sina, once you understand yourself, then you can start taking care of your body with real wisdom. And his rules for doing that? They're surprisingly simple and super practical, even today.
I mean, just look at this comparison. It's kind of wild, isn't it? 1,000 years ago, he's basically preaching preventative care. He's saying things like, diet is the head of all treatment, and all diseases begin in the gut. He was warning people not to rely on medicine unless it was absolutely necessary. He wanted us to let our bodies do the healing. And when you put that next to our modern traps, running to medicine first, waiting till we're sick, looking for a quick fix, it's a really powerful contrast.
And his daily health code is even more down to earth. Simple things, right? The doctor enters the home where the sun does not. So let some sunlight in. Keep your feet warm and your head cool. Or how about this one? Walking after a meal is a sign of good health. These aren't complicated medical orders. They're just simple, timeless lifestyle choices. He's showing us that real, lasting health isn't some big, dramatic thing. It's built quietly, day by day, with these small, wise habits. But, a healthy body is only half the battle, right? Ibn Sina was just as focused on our internal world, that constant storm of thoughts and emotions we all deal with. He had these prescriptions for the mind and soul because he believed certain feelings were literally as toxic to our health as any physical sickness. The first poison for the heart he called out? Grief. That deep, heavy sorrow. He saw it as an emotion that, if you just let it run wild, could physically weaken your heart and just drain the life right out of you. And the second poison for the heart, well, this one's going to sound really familiar to a lot of us. It's anxiety. That constant worry. He totally recognized that a mind that's always consumed by fear of the future can't ever be in the present. And that constant inner turmoil, he knew it was deeply damaging, not just mentally, but physically too. So what's the cure for these poisons? His prescription was so practical, it's brilliant. He said, find an occupation. Find something meaningful to do. His whole argument was that an idle mind is just vulnerable. It gets invaded, as he put it, by negative thoughts, by what other people think, by all that grief and anxiety. So having a purpose, having something to occupy yourself with, that's your shield.
But purposeful work isn't the only medicine in his toolkit. He pointed to two things that were the most effective, and they are love, and affection. He believed these weren't just nice-to-haves. He saw them as fundamental healing tools, absolutely essential for calming that inner storm.
And of course, that focus on love and connection leads us right into the next piece of the puzzle, his wisdom for connecting with others. How we relate to the world around us. For Ibn Sina, health was never some solo mission. It was deeply, deeply tied to our community and how we show up in it.
Okay, I absolutely love this. When it comes to being a good person, his advice is just so direct. Step 1, stop arguing about what a good person should be. Step 2, just be one. I mean, he just cuts through all the noise, right? Get straight to the point. Don't just talk about being a good person, actually be one. Action is everything.
And here are his rules for social harmony, for just living well with other people. In kindness, don't separate your friends from your enemies. Don't do to others what you wouldn't want for yourself. And he said a rich person who isn't generous is like a tree with no fruit. For him, the most important quality was just kindness. And these weren't just, nice moral ideas. He saw them as practical, essential rules for a healthy society, which in turn makes for a healthy person.
Okay, so we've got knowing yourself, taking care of your body, calming your mind, and connecting with others. So what's the one big idea, the ultimate cure that ties all of this together? Well, it's all about balance. This is the synthesis of all his wisdom.
And here it is, this is the master key to his whole philosophy. Sickness always arises from either excess or deficiency. In other words, an imbalance. For him, pretty much every problem, whether it's in your body, your mind, or in your relationships, it's a problem of imbalance. Too much food or not enough. Too much grief or not enough purpose. It's all about that delicate, constant act of finding the middle ground.
It's such a simple but powerful idea, right? That everything in excess is contrary to nature. You can apply this lens to, well, everything in your own life. Work, rest, food, even your thoughts. Anything you take to an extreme eventually becomes unnatural, and then it becomes harmful. Moderation isn't about being boring. It's about being in sync with nature. It's the path to a well-being you can actually sustain.
And that brings us right back to where we started, full circle, to that first powerful question. Before you heal someone, ask them, are you willing to give up the things that make you sick? Now, after everything we've talked about, balance in the mind, the body, our community, this question just lands with so much more weight, doesn't it? Because healing isn't free. It requires a sacrifice. It means you have to be willing to let go of the very habits, the behaviors, maybe even the thoughts that are creating that imbalance to begin with. So this isn't just some historical question from 1,000 years ago. It's a personal one for you, right now. Looking at your own life through the eyes of Ibn Sina, what will you give up? What imbalance in your life are you willing to correct in order to finally be well?